comrades! Welcome to the United Soviet States of America. You see, the October Revolution was completed this past November 4th, and being the good little Nikita that I am, I got my commie pin on. I most certainly do. Nikita Leone. Azza mia, azza nice, azza Italiano, eh? Listen, let me explain to you what happened, how this happened, this past November 4th. In 1959, the leader of the evil empire, the Soviet Union, Nikita Khrushchev, came to the United States and he said, "We're going to bury you. Your country is going to turn communist without us having to fire one shot. We will introduce socialism to the United States incrementally, and being the dumb capitalist that you are, you will fall for it," and we did. Prior to his arrival, there was a senator in Washington named Joe McCarthy. He was trying to weed out all the commies we had hidden under our beds. I looked under my bed. I didn't see a commie. I saw the boogeyman. But all those commies were under the beds in Hollywood, and they took over in Hollywood. Well, 10 years after Nikita came on scene, the universities and colleges in the United States erupted. The leftists on those campuses wanted their voices to be heard. They demanded it. They blew up the places, they had demonstrations, they took over buildings, and they graduated. And when they graduated with those degrees, they didn't go into the capitalistic world. They went back into the universities and those colleges and became professors and administrators and took over, and they promoted leftist ideas, and they adopted Stalin's political correctness and made that the order of the day in our universities. It stifles free speech, except that of a leftist free speech. That you're allowed to have. So what they did also, they took over the teacher schools in those universities, and all those high school students coming into the universities learning to become teachers were taught by these leftists. And they taught them that when you become teachers in the public schools, you have to teach this socialism, this leftist ideology, and the only way you're going to succeed in doing that is by keeping the students ignorant of our founding fathers, ignorant of our founding documents. Oh, they did a rudimentary lesson on them, but they didn't go into detail like we did prior to that in our schools. They didn't teach them the beauty of those documents and the eloquence of them. No, they taught them that the people who wrote those documents were sexist and racist. That's who wrote those documents. Had they taught them those documents, what happened this past November 4th would have never happened. So now they have the colleges, now they have the universities, and now they have the public schools, which they turned those public schools into re-education camps, converted the teachers from teaching to becoming indoctrinators. Then they took over Hollywood again. More communists went in there. And for the past 30 years, Hollywood, the biggest propaganda organ in the world, has displayed to American youth and the rest of the world that the American government is evil and inefficient, that the American military are nothing but a bunch of Nazi thugs, that the American intelligence agencies are vicious, that American corporations do nothing but take advantage of the poor. Also that the police are nothing but racist, sexist, and a bunch of bums. They taught this to break down respect for our culture and society. And also they pushed their depravity, those pervert thespians in Hollywood, deteriorate further the society in this country, and they also degraded Christianity. You have to get the people out of the churches. You have to take morality out of the public square. And they succeeded with that in Hollywood. So now, they also took over the journalism schools. And journalism schools at one time used to teach, to be a good journalist, you have to teach, yes, you have to teach, you have to report who, what, when, where, why, and how. No longer. You have to report the facts so the public can make the decision. They scrapped that and said, you don't report the facts. You report your opinion, and that becomes the fact. And that's what they've been doing in the American news media. Then they took over a political party, the Democrat Party. Then the Democrats we have today are not the Democrats we had with John F. Kennedy, with Robert Kennedy, with Hubert Humphrey, Zell Miller, and Ed Koch. Those were Democrats. Now you got the bums like Harry Reid, Nancy Pelosi, John Kerry, what's his name, Ted Kennedy, Hillary Clinton, Chuck Schumer, John Rockefeller. Where do you get these leftist people from? The Kremlin directly? Give you an illustration how stupid this country is. The worst Congress since King George had this rating. They voted them back in, the Americans. Murtha, a congressman in western Pennsylvania, said of his constituents, the people in his districts, that they were nothing but rednecks and racists. And you know what those rednecks and racists did? They voted him back in this past November. Where the Hades does that come from? 30 years of indoctrination. 30 years of brains being full of mush. That's what happened. So now we get this presidential candidate who can speak good in front of a teleprompter, who's a handsome gentleman, has a beautiful looking family. He comes out and he tells us he's a socialist by redistributing the wealth and by his affiliations. He didn't lie to anybody. He's not devious. He's right up front with what he's telling us. And we voted him in because we have no fear of socialism thanks to 30 years of indoctrination. The worst part is not so much the socialists in the White House that's going to be, but the Congress. That's the worst part. They are the sneaks. They are the dirty dogs. They're the ones that need to be pushed into the Potomac, but the American people pushed them back into the Capitol building. In a democracy that we used to have, you deserve the government that we get. And we got what we deserve. Yeah! Me, little Nikita Leone, that's me. I got my bags packed. I'm ready to go to the re-education camp. You won't be able to re-educate me because it's all empty up here. So I'll work in the kitchen. I like cooking for large groups. I'll have a good time. All right, folks. You just have to laugh. What else could you do? We tried to vote. It didn't work. There was more of them than there was of us. Thank God it turned out peacefully. All right, folks. We'll see you. God bless you. God bless the United Socialist States of America. And God bless the nation you happen to be in. See ya.